Hello again, everybody, and welcome. Brad Bestgen with Bestgen Wealth Management, and today I want to share a topic with you that we think is extremely important regarding cash reserves and having an emergency fund. So, a few things that I want to talk about regarding this topic are: one, what is an adequate amount to have as an emergency fund, and how do you figure that out? Two, our definition of the four things that we think you can do with your money. Three, as you're developing or building up your emergency fund, where should you save that money? And four, how to get started working on your goals and creating a budget to make sure you meet them. So first, you'll see a lot of different views or articles on whether you should have 3 months, 6 months, 2 years of an emergency savings account. In our opinion, if you are working in a 2-income household and both jobs are fairly certain, that you should need up to 6 months of expenses in an emergency savings account. If you're in a single income household, I tend to aim more conservative on this and think you should have at least a year's worth of expenses built up in an emergency savings account. So this can be different for each family. You also want to keep into account what we call the sleep at night factor. So you want to make sure you have at least 6 months. And if a single family, a year. If you want to have more than that, a little less than that, that's up to you. But in any circumstance, at least 6 months we feel is imperative. This is really only 4 things you can do with your money after you earn it, right? 1, you got to pay taxes with it. 2, you can save it. 3, you can spend it. And 4, you can donate it to charity. And donating to charity is really a version of spending your money, but a lot of our clients think that's important for them, and so we like to make it a separate line item. So when we talk about emergency funds, we want to make sure that you are actually saving and putting that money aside for an emergency, like what we might be going through right now. You have an insurance claim on your house, someone loses a job, there's something that's unexpected, that's an emergency. I'm not talking about saving $500, $1,000 a month, and then 6 months later you take all that money out to go on vacation. But you really didn't save that money, you just deferred your spending for 6 months. And it really wasn't an emergency fund, and now your savings is drawn down to zero or close to it because you took the money out to go away. So I'm not saying not to go away and do things in your life that you want to do, but be able to separate buckets and create an emergency account for yourself and your family. Now, as you're building that up, what you should do with it, in our opinion, is set up an account with an FDIC insured online savings account. There's a number of online banks that have high yield money market savings, and they can give you better rates than regular big banks because they don't have the brick and mortar establishments to pay for. So places like Capital One, Ally Bank, CIT Bank Online, all paying upwards of 1, in some cases 1.5% on interest on high yield savings. The second reason to do that is most of us have an app on our phone for our banking. You get your checks deposited directly, you're writing checks, you can see it every single day. And if you have a separate account outside of that where you're moving money for long-term savings as an emergency fund, it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. So set up an automatic deduction from your normal bank account into this online high-yielding savings account. Research the one that's best for you. There's a lot of banks, they all have different features. Research the one that makes the most sense for you and your family. And fourth, really what you need to do is treat your household like a business. Most successful companies have goals: 1 year, 3 year, 5 years, and they budget out their cash flow. They might even look at it weekly. For a household, we don't think you need to do it that often, but monthly, reassess your cash flow. What's coming in? What's coming out? Did we meet our savings goal this month? Did we not meet it? If so, why? How can we improve? How can we continue to do what we did if we did meet it? And just look at those things. Right now is a great time to be doing that. We're sitting at home. We can't spend money on things that we usually do, so probably our bills are a little bit less. Can we reassess that situation and say, okay, as the economy is opening back up, maybe I can start to save some of that money. I don't have to go right back to spending on all those things. We've lived for 2 or 3 months without them. I don't need them going forward. And so maybe you have a situation where you have to cancel a vacation because of coronavirus. Your kid's summer camp got postponed or canceled, and you're getting refunds for all these things. don't just go out and spend that money again on something else. Let's look at what our goals are. Are we trying to pay down school loans, credit card debt, save for a second home, and build up our emergency fund? How do we determine what money should go into which buckets so we are hitting our goals in a timely manner, the way that we want for our family? Even if you're a high income earner, high net worth, and you don't really budget, maybe you should. Maybe you can get to your goals a little bit faster and with a little more efficiency if you ultimately know how much you should be saving each month towards one thing versus another. So we hope you found that helpful. We hope you have an emergency fund built up. And if you don't, start. Email us at info@bestgenwm if you have feedback, suggestions, or questions. Until the next time, stay safe. We hope you find it helpful, and thanks for listening.